Yeah, so welcome everyone. I think we can start. Um, yeah, so week two, prayers and meditations, part five. And today we have the prayer of November 28, 1912 with us. So, as always, I request each one of you, one by one, if we can all share our reflections, contemplations on the prayer and how it connected to us for our day to day life. Yeah. So as and when you become ready, just one by one. Do not wait for others to share. If you are ready, just unmute and share.
Okay, I'll go, Monica.
Yes, Chitraji, please.
Yeah, okay. The first line, no, the outer life, the activity of each day and each instant, is it not the indispensable complement of our hours of meditation and contemplation? Yes. The first line itself, I feel like I have to contemplate upon actually that much deep it is. I think this we discussed earlier also, no? These prayers and meditations. I think so. I wrote something about it. That's
Yes,
why.
yes.
Okay, okay.
There may be a duplication. We may have
Yeah,
discussed. Yeah.
yeah, no problem. Yes. Okay, but now I feel I can little more contemplate upon that than previously, actually. So I feel even during the daily activities, mundane activities, you should feel the presence of the divine always. So equally, when how you feel during meditation and contemplation, you have to feel the presence, even the outer activities actually that mother stressed upon through these lines. And also the next few lines also indicate that it's not the proportion of, actually this thing I don't have much clarity, and it's not the proportion of time given to each, the exact image of the proportion which exists between the amount. Yeah, I'm not very clear about this. I need some, yeah, some explanation from you. But next few lines again stress to the same point. For meditation, contemplation, union is the result obtained. Yes, that the unity, you should feel always in the outer activities also. That flower she mentioned. Through meditation and contemplation, that union is the flower, and in the daily activity also you have to feel that unity and presence. Like that I felt actually. So next, all these elements must be thus passed one after the other through the crucible before outer activity becomes needless for the integral development. This is a very important thing, yeah. Because when we feel the presence, unity of divine in the outer activities also, then I feel the surrender becomes more and more till we attain that unity. That outer activity is a necessity. Maybe after that she's mother is bringing out that also, then is this activity turned into the means to manifest thee, so as to awaken the other centers of consciousness. Yeah, till that time the outer activities are very important, mundane activities also. But once you reach that stage, that unity, or if you always feel the presence, maybe it will become minimum, the outer needs. And also towards that activities also becomes minimum, so that you can, next line she's brought that, no, very more, yeah. So to awaken other centers of consciousness to the same dual work of the forge of and the illumination, we can open fully more and more towards divine. Maybe that may be the priority, not for outer activities. Yeah. And next line important, therefore our pride and satisfaction with oneself the worst of all obstacles. I feel this brings the humbleness in us actually. Yeah, this is the very important point according to me. Very modestly we must take advantage advantage of all the minute opportunities offered to knead and purify us. Definitely, all the outer activities, if we really feel the presence of the divine and do it, it will really purify us and knead us, and we will become supple, and to make them impersonal, to teach them forgetfulness of self. And yeah, these are all very important. I mean, all very, important words also: devotion, kindness, and gentleness. Yes. And when all these modes of being have become habitual to them, then they are ready to participate in the contemplation. Till that time, again and again, Mother is bringing that. The outer activity we cannot ignore till we reach that point. Maybe after you reach that point, it will automatically settle in. I mean, what is the goal of our life and what we got to do really. Yeah. I felt like that. So that is why it seems to me that the work must be long and slow, even for the best. This is the real thing in my life. Actually, it is very long, very slow. Now I know why it is so, because to, I mean, again going to the previous lines, to purify the being and also become, I mean, very humble and supple. Yeah, these the path is very long and very slow. For me it is very true, actually. Yeah. And yes, as usual, Mother's pray. Yeah, these things I contemplate upon. And the last one: "O Supreme Master, who shinest in my being." When I read these lines, I felt this only this time. I felt every time Mother ended the prayers and meditation with beautiful note. Yeah, this time also like this. This is the thing I actually gathered. Thank you, Monica.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Chitraji.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So anyone who wants to go next?
Monica ji, I can go next.
Please, Vishnuji, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Two very beautiful, while of course I will say about my reflections, but two very beautiful things which I learned from Chitra Desh. She said that which I was missing, that the prayers are deep. That's a very right word. The first line is very deep. And second thing is, she always ended the thing on a high note, on a high, beautiful note, closing the prayer as the offering to the divine. I had observed, but I was unable to verbalize, which Chitradi put it very nicely. So about this prayer, in the lines what Chitradi always already said, I also felt what Mother is saying here is should not the outer activities be a complement, that is a help for the hours of meditation and contemplation? Because, and we should note that this prayer was written in 1912, before Mother met Sri Aurobindo. And even before she met Sri Aurobindo, she had these questions, she had this philosophy and the idea that the outer activities should not be an impediment for meditation and contemplation. It should not be an obstacle. Rather, it should be a help for the inner aid. Because the meditation and contemplation, what is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is the union with the divine, which she later said the constant remembrance. That is the ultimate goal of the union, that the flower or the fruit for which we are aiming for. And what are the daily activities? All throughout the day, what we are passing through, the daily activities is the anvil. The anvil is that instrument which the iron smith uses to hammer the metal, on which all the elements must pass. So it is like whatever is happening throughout the day, if we take those as an experience for inner growth, inner development, for reflection, to see that how we can improve ourselves, discard what we need to discard, where we should be more pliant, where we are working out of ego, then every day, whatever work we do becomes a great aid for our inner development. And in her own language, how she is saying, we can be purified, refined, made supple, and ripe for the illumination which contemplation gives to them. Probably she used the Buddhist language here, terminology. The illumination means the light that we see when we contemplate on any subject. That is, we concentrate very deeply, we meditate or we contemplate. We see that object or theory in a new light. We get a new purpose, and that is what probably she is referring here by illumination. All these elements might be thus passed one after other through the crucible before our outer activity becomes needless for this integral development. And that is, once we become perfect, in another prayer we will see Mother is saying, you will not differentiate between one activity and other, because every activity will then become an integral part of you, and it will not be you do not need any more worldly experience to make this inner development. And then what will happen for any perfect sadhak? That person will become an instrument of the divine and will express the divine wish through his activities or her activities. And they need not do the work for the sake of the work or self, and that person will work for the sake of the divine. And to do that, what has to be done? Therefore, pride and satisfaction with oneself are the worst of all obstacles. So by pride, it is the ego, and satisfaction with oneself is complacency. It is not contentment, complacency. At times, we are just so complacent that we don't want to improve. And the second thing is the ego, which, we all are aware, we don't need to get inside. The question is why Sri Aurobindo Mother and even modern psychologists are saying, what is the function of ego? Ego is like a memory. It makes us believe in our imperfections. We are certain things, so we cannot be something else. And that is why Mother Sri Aurobindo or other people have said, when you come to yoga, you have to forget yourself. That is, you have to break your ego so that you can exceed yourself. You can be in touch with a greater energy to exceed your capabilities. And that is not possible till you forget who you are, or rather to find out who you truly are. Let's say that. Very modestly, we must take advantage of all the minute opportunities offered to knead and purify some of the innumerable elements, to make them supple, to make them impersonal, to teach them forgetfulness of self, which is the breaking of the ego, and abnegation, and devotion and kindness and gentleness. And here I think this devotion and kindness and gentleness is how we operate in the world. Kindness and gentleness and devotion. If you read Synthesis of Yoga separately, or later we will see that unless for us normal human beings, there are so many work which is coming in our daily life, and unless we offer them, we are trying to offer them for a higher cause, some of the work will not be our liking. And unless we have that faith that it is the divine who is bringing this in our life, so there is a purpose. If we don't have that view, let's not speak of the understanding comes later. If we don't have that view, then life becomes very difficult, which in nowadays, which you see, I see, as they say, is accept. And here it is the other side of that. You accept because you have the devotion. When all these modes of being become habitual to them, then they are ready to participate in the contemplation, to identify themselves with thee in the supreme concentration. And the next thing is, how will this process of complete perfection will be? So this is a work which must be long and slow, even for the best, and that striking conversions cannot be integral. To my understanding, what I understood here is, at times we see that somebody goes to a place, be it pilgrimage or other place, and they have certain experiences. And after that experience, we find not only in pilgrimage, in course of life. After that experience, we find that the person has changed. And then Mother is saying that such changes are not integral. It, it is important, it is important, but for the overall complete transformation or the integral change, that work has to be very long and slow. They change the orientation of the being, they put in definitely on the straight path. This striking conversions, they change the orientation of the being. That is, as we see that suddenly a person, his course of life has changed. They put it definitely on the straight path, and here remains, I'm sure, the straight path to divine or to finding the psychic being. But truly to attain the goal, none can escape the need of innumerable experiences of every kind and every instant. And this is the path of the sadhana, the innumerable experiences of every kind and every instant. And as Chitradi beautifully said, she ended with the beautiful note here, Mother. O Supreme Master, who shinest in my being and each thing, let thy light be manifest and the rain of thy peace come for all. And this is also a very Buddhist way, because there, after you meditate, you offer your fruits of the meditation to all other sentient beings. That is, you don't meditate for yourself, you meditate for the world, you meditate for the benefit of the others. And probably, I'm just guessing, because that time she was very much into Dhammapada, probably it comes, also stems from that, that she is offering as if the prayer for the world and not only for herself. Let thy reign, let your reign be, and peace come to all of us.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Jishnuji. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Yes. So who wants to go next? Yeah, Jyotsnaji. Yeah.
Actually, both Chitradi and Jishnuji have covered the major part of it. And most of it, except this one line where and is not the proportion of time given to each, the exact image of the proportion which exists between the amount of effort to be made for the preparation and realization, which is quite self-explanatory if we just sit down with it and keep on going over it again and again. But I think the keynote of this entire prayer is Monica, the line in the middle. Uh, this, therefore, pride and satisfaction with oneself, the worst of all obstacles, because in modesty, we have to just remember that we have to remain humble, supple, in total surrender, and only then will we be able to be prepared for unity with the divine. So if both these things are kept outside our domain, then probably we are on the straight path where pride and satisfaction don't exist, and we try to make our outer life in congruence with the inner life and contemplation, and then we sort of achieve it. For me, this was the hallmark that's the root.
Yeah. Thank you. So next time, Jyotsnaji, I think I'll ask you first to share so that you don't have the chance to say that, okay, I think all of it is covered. So next time it's you who is starting, okay? Yeah, thank you.
Otherwise, I'll repeat the whole thing again,
Yeah,
but then
so that's
we
why I'm
won't
saying
get to
next time
hear,
you are the first one in the line.
we won't get to hear your golden words, so I'm cutting it short.
No, no, no. Every word is golden, please. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
So, Shreya, Swapna, whoever feels ready to share their reflections, please go ahead.
Mine are perhaps more concise in that I let the whole prayer wash over me, but it's also been a very busy week. So I think what struck me, or what is striking me, is the line that we've all perhaps underlined or brought attention about the proportion of time given. Right, I too found myself it's almost like a puzzle, but it draws me, and to me it seems to indicate very at a personal experience level of how many times outer work and even my job can seem something that is not worthy, or I judge as not meaningful enough or not enough somehow. And the amount of energy that goes to the proportion of time spent in that kind of judgment versus my aspiration, which is to just remember her and do whatever it is for the divine, for her. And that, to me, this means that that there is this direct link between the amount of concentration and effort to go through those kinds of tasks and genuinely make it be for her, and authentically feel that this is as worthy as if she, I don't know, made me something that my mind can judge as higher work. I don't know, a scientist or a doctor or someone saving the world, in terms of someone like Mother Teresa, or something that, I assume though that kind of work is higher. And so that way makes me, it underlines my sincerity or need for greater sincerity. And then if I go to the line about this, therefore, pride and satisfaction, I also noticed I went the other way, in the same way that Mother in another place speaks about how if one is self-negating, right, the times that I go to that place of, yeah, I haven't done enough, or I should be doing something more in the world. And that this prayer is all about that, this link between outer work and the inner yoga. And everyone else has said lots that I absolutely agree with, almost everything. So in this case, mine going to, bringing to my attention the number of times when ego plays that other game, right, which judges something I do or my place or my offering in the world as something not enough or not good enough, or holding up a yardstick that is much taller for myself in terms of inner and outer achievement compared to a friend or a family member. That also acts as one of the worst of all obstacles. So bringing my attention to both sides of what ego can play at, basically anything that acts as an obstacle needing to be purified. Yes, and then I think overall getting a sense of comfort in terms of that even the Mother spoke of how it is slow work, that it is long and slow even for the best. And it's like, phew, thank goodness, for the times when it feels like surely I am, taking whatever, one step forward and 5 steps back or something of that sort. It's like, it's not so, that it is slow and exacting work, and one just needs to continue, or I need to continue. Yes. I think that's what I'd like to offer. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Swapna. Yeah. So, Shreya, do you have things to share?
I
Anything that
don't.
stood out for you?
I mean, I joined a bit late. I don't have any reflection, like a deep insight to share. But what I felt reading the prayer right now, I had my Gmail email open parallelly, and I was reading that. And what I felt was, I mean, I see. Well, I'm trying to comprehend what the passage says, and um, what it means to me. But also what was coming up for me while I was reading this was that for many of the things that happen, I see that many of the, so to say, beautiful things that happen in my life are completely unplanned. In the sense that there was no attachment and things just happened and I just worked and things just, like attachment may have been to reach point A, but I reached point B instead, and that turned out to be even better. So I'm not sure how it relates to this passage, but when in the passage there was this sentence that the daily activity is the anvil on which all the elements must pass and repass in order to be purified, refined, made supple. I see that, how important contemplation is, and connecting with oneself and with the divine, and seeing where we are coming from, and surrendering every moment in a way. But what somehow was coming up for me was also this sense of detachment from what is supposed to be. Yeah, that's all that I want to
Beautiful. Yeah. What is supposed to be means what the mind
Yes,
plans. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Absolutely. With you. Yeah.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Yes. Beautiful. Great. So I think we have really touched upon varied aspects, and let us go over again and see what more comes out. So the outer life, the activity of each day and each instant, beautiful. Each day, each instant. So mother is not excluding anything, nothing is excluded. Is it not the indispensable complement of our hours of meditation and contemplation? So, this reminds me of Kabir ji's couplet, Nindak niere rakhiye, angan kuti chhawaye, bin sabun pani bina nirmal kare suhai. And all we see around, especially those of us who are living with people around them, is criticism. Many a times, we are living with people with who have conflicting personalities than us, and I think that is the beauty which hides in that appearance of a challenge. The beauty is that those people will always be there to challenge us. Oh my god, you have been doing so much of spiritual literature and so much of meditation, and still you are this. So they keep on reminding us that we are not yet so beautiful. I think no matter where they are coming from, what is their intention, we don't have to go there, but it is serving us a beautiful purpose, because it tells me that my sadhana still is not complete. As mother says later, that pride and satisfaction or complacency is the worst of an obstacle. And when we are just very satisfied with ourselves that yes, I have done enough sadhana, I am okay now, then just go and live with some people who are conflicting than you, and then you would know how much effort is still required, like pushing you in deeper waters. So I think this is very, very important to keep ourselves grounded. All the criticism, all the uh, realizations in our day-to-day life which tell us that still there is a lot to be refined and purified in our daily life. And I feel that especially relationship issues, when we go through them, we see that our emotions are not pure, they are mixed with impurities. And it is an instance whenever we have conflict in a relationship, it just gives me an opportunity, a mirror, to see that I have not been harboring beautiful thoughts in my head. I have ill will against people, I have criticism and all the bad things against people, or all the anger, hate against people, which goes on in my head, and hence bring impurity in the relationship. So these give me a chance so that I can further on and on purify until 24 hours I am aware what is going on in my head, in my emotions, and what is going on all there. Otherwise we are just half there and half here, we don't even know what we are thinking of throughout the day. So each thought, each thought I have to be aware of slowly. It must be passing through this psychic mirror, whether it is worth thinking, or whether it is required, requires more of purification. Yeah. So that has to be our aspiration. And this is why mother says that here, we were talking about this, that in contemplation, in meditation, we may have beautiful experiences, just sitting by ourselves. We may have really beautiful experiences of a union, as if with our own higher self. But the moment we turn to outer life, whether it is my family or maybe social service that I may be doing, anything, the work, office work, then all I interact with is the mental domain, the emotional domain, and maybe the physical domain. And all these neither members of the being, they are the ones which require transformation. So the light of consciousness, which is shining bright in meditation, suddenly it appears, it as if a dip appears, because all that interacts with the outer world is the mental being, the vital being, and the physical being. Now this is our task, this is the integral yoga of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, that this bridge from inner to the outer has to be joined. This is our task. This is why mother says that the souls jumped into this adventure, because there is so much darkness in the mental domain, so much darkness in the emotional domain and the physical domain. Inertia, cells have forgotten that they are divine in nature and they have the capacity to live forever. They have forgotten. So all this darkness has to be turned completely towards beauty and light, that we experience in the hours of meditation and contemplation. So this is where the red line which we wanted to share, that it's the proportion of time given to each, the exact image of the proportion which exists between amount of effort to be made for preparation and realization. So consider two parties. On the left hand is preparation, and on the right hand is realization. When you are sitting in on the right hand in realization, in meditation and contemplation, you feel that you have realized, you get a sense of a union. But then the moment you turn towards the left hand, which is the outer activity, the outer day, there you see, oh my god, I need a lot of preparation here. The union is not obvious in these neither members of the being. So this is the proportion that mother talks of. On the right hand is realization or the hours of meditation, and on the left hand is preparation needed or the outer activity. Yeah, so this is what mother is sharing. The proportion between these two is exactly same, that is required. For meditation, contemplation, union is the result obtained. That is why we feel that, oh my god, once you have a taste of meditation, you feel that, oh my god, more and more I want to sit by myself. It feels so nice. So why are you feeling so nice there? Because you feel a sense of oneness with the higher being, the higher inner self, or the higher being. And that's where we feel very contented, that okay, I am enough, I am okay. But the moment I get into the outer world, the image appears to be different. So this is the flower that blooms, the flower of union, which has not yet bloomed in the daily outer activity. The daily activity is the anvil. I think Jishnuji shared beautifully on the about the anvil, what it is. The blacksmith uses it to hammer, things made of iron, which have to be hammered into some particular shape. The daily activity is the anvil on which all the elements must pass and repass, and just add to it infinite number of times. Just put it in the brackets. Infinite number of times they have to pass and repass in order to be purified and refined. This is how we do daily sadhana. All life is yoga, all each instant is yoga, because I'm more and more I am aware of my inner movements, outer movements. I see, oh, this I was not really offered there, surrendered there, this just missed the moment, and then the next day I'm a bit better, and as Swapna was sharing, maybe 5 steps ahead and maybe 10 steps back. But it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. We are not making a race here. It's not a competition that is happening. Just to be on this path of self correction, just to be on this path of surrender, gives you so much of contentment and joy that you say, no matter if I have to do it for a lifetime, I am okay, because this gives me a sense of intimacy with the divine, and I'm okay with that. That is all that I want. This intimacy with the divine, that the feet of the Lord are with me all the time. That is all that I need. Yeah. So this is how we have to work: purified, refined, made supple. Supple, suppleness is a kind of a fluidity, a kind of a dynamicity that you have. You are dynamic, you're not very rigid. Yes, there are principles you may live by, but these principles are not so like rigid principles that you live by. They are very plastic and supple in nature. Even the mental opinions, usually when we are in the ego, our mental opinions are very rigid. Aisa hai to aisa hi hai. And when we are not working from the domain of ego, then we are ready to listen, we are more receptive, we are ready to even join the contradicting point of views. That's what Sri Aurobindo does in Synthesis of Yoga. He brings all the point of views together and says, okay, this is all that they want to say. So they all have a pinch of truth with them. So this is what is meant by suppleness of the being, ripe for the illumination. And again, I think Jishnuji was sharing on this. Illumination may be coming from Buddhist terminology, where there is this line from Buddhism, appadipo bhav, be your own light, be the light onto yourself. I think that's so beautiful that we all have the capacity that we can be light onto ourselves. Yes, we all need help of each other and maybe some books and masters in our journey, but those are all just hints and reminders to tell us that all the power lies within me. So after that, the last crutch also has to be let go of. The last crutches that I hold on, that, oh my God, I cannot survive without this, because if this is not there, how would light be in my life? While it is not like that. Those words, those books, those masters are just there to tell you that you are powerful enough, you are capable enough. So wake up to your own light. So this is the illumination which contemplation gives to them. Yeah, so all these members of the family, neither members, the lower members, they are just uh, kind of here so that they can be transformed. They keep on reminding us, mother, I also need transformation. You don't go ahead, bring yourself uh, a little closer to me. So the light of consciousness that we truly are, where Ishavasya Upanishad, that line Purnamidam, that we all are coming from that whole and we are that whole. So yes, we are that whole, and parallelly there is a lot of works to be done. Yeah. So this is where we have to strike a balance. Take all the courage and power from those hours of contemplation and then put it in these members which need light from us, from the light of consciousness. Yeah. All these elements be thus passed one after the other through the crucible before outer activity becomes needless for the integral development. Now, a time may come that all the elements have turned toward the divine. The emotions turn toward the divine, the feelings have turned towards the divine, the physical being itself has turned towards the divine, thoughts are all turned towards the divine. So everything in the being is turned towards the divine. Now, the outer activity is not serving a need so that everything should turn to divine in time. But the outer activity still be there, will still be there. But it would not be there as a need for growth. It would now be there so that other centers of consciousness can awaken. And this line is also beautiful. Then this activity turned into the means to manifest thee. So every part of the being is now working to bring more and more divine beauty and truth into manifestation. The self has been absolutely negated, the little self that we are. This reminds me of the life of all these sadhaks. For example, maybe Jyoti Priya, what I have read about her, Judith Tyberg, all life devoted towards words, spreading, light of words of Sri Aurobindo and the mother. So like this, slowly a self abnegation comes and you say that all I will do is just work for the divine cause. That is all I'm going to do. because everything has now turned towards the divine. So the outer activity still will be there, but now it will not be serving much for the turning of the members of mental, vital, physical to the divine, because they've already turned to the divine. But the activity turned to a means to manifest the divine itself, yeah, more and more in beauty and in more power, so as to awaken the other centers of consciousness to do to the same dual work of forge and illumination. So hammer, hammer, make it perfect, make it beautiful, and make it full of light and divine beauty. This work goes on and on and on. So there is no end to this work. And that's where mother says that, owing to the fact that there is no end to the work, where is the place for pride and satisfaction? When on earth will you be able to say that I have done enough? Because there is so much that one can do inwardly and outwardly. And then hence they are the worst obstacles. And it is not, mother also warns against excessive humility, because that also becomes kind of a hypocritical thing, being excessively modest and almost kind of, not really true to oneself. So humility, I feel, is a byproduct. When one walks on this path, one sees that, oh my god, there is so much to be done, there is so much to be changed in me outwardly, and one sees that there is no end to it. That brings humility. Yeah, so humility is not that you're cultivating humility, it cannot be that way. It would be like a byproduct of your being on the path. Yeah, so you are realizing more and more, you go deeper towards the divine, you see there is so much that is still lying in darkness, that is still needing transformation in my being, and hence it brings me back to the ground. It's like Kabir says, बुरा जो देखन मैं चला बुरा ना मिलिया कोई जो मन खोजा आपना मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. So I see that so many thoughts in me go 24/7 a day, which have no light in them. There is all darkness and negativity going on in those thoughts, and I still think them. Yeah, so that brings me back on the ground, that there is so much to be done. So the more aware we are towards our own inner movements, the more I realize that I am actually nothing, I can be nothing. And it's not that you talk to people about this, oh no, I'm nothing, not like that, because then again it appears so again hypocritical in nature. So but one realizes in the being that yes, we are still far away. Yeah, so that is the worst of obstacles, because that leads us to inertia, and we feel very settled. But I feel that the grace is so powerful that even when I may feel settled at one point or the other in my life, that okay, enough of sadhana, enough of learnings, sooner or later a blow comes. Sooner or later again I fall on my nose, and I have to dust my pants and get on the road again. So I feel this is a beautiful thing, almost like a default, a kind of recharge, or something, some default mechanism that is there for people on the path of sadhana, that if we get settled on the path of sadhana, sooner or later a blow will come, and then you will get going again on the path. So that's really beautiful, and that's why mother talks of blows of Mahakali, and when the divine gives blows. So people who are on the path of sadhana, they'll be very happy that they've gotten a blow. It means that the divine still loves them, that he still he or she still cares about the sadhak. Yeah, so very modestly we must take advantage of all the minute opportunities, little opportunities offered to knead and purify some of the innumerable elements. Now mind, vital, and physical are just three, grosser elements. So mother is saying innumerable elements of the being, to make them supple, to make them impersonal. Now what does it mean by impersonal? Every time, everything that we do about is me, my story, my agendas, my wants, my likings, my dislikings, my preferences, my comforts, my convenience. So this is what it means by impersonal, that you let go of them. The my is not there. Impersonal, all is turned towards the divine. to teach them forgetfulness of self. Even Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti shares that the biggest trouble that we have in humankind is obsessiveness about ourselves. We are obsessed with ourselves. Me and my story, that is all I need. All other people and things and relationships should just get according to, just place themselves according to me and my likings. So this leads to suffering. So that's why forgetfulness of self becomes very, very important, and that happens when we are lost in contemplation of divine, or doing works as remembrance and offering towards the divine, and not for our own personal satisfaction. Yeah, that helps. And devotion, I think Jishnuji was touching upon that, devotion and kindness and gentleness. Now again, I would see that kindness and gentleness are a byproduct of walking on this path. They come as a gift, as a side gift to walking on this path. Devotion, reminds me of Meera. Meera drank poison, and I was just reflecting upon it today and a day before. Wouldn't she think, it is poison, and doubt would not come in the being that, what if this poison hurts me and what will happen to me? But why did it not come to Meera? The doubt about poison killing her being. Her being was just living for the divine. We are not living completely for the divine yet. We may be in few hours of our day, maybe living for the divine, but rest of the hours are contributed or dedicated to us. We are devoted to us. Our little selves are we devoted to. And there comes the doubt that what will happen if I take this poison to my life. But owing to the fact that Meera's life is completely turned towards the divine, she is living for Krishna, in Krishna. If Krishna is not there, she will die. And that's why if the poison has come, it's only Krishna that is responsible for taking care of the poison. So no doubt comes into the picture. We are full of doubt and skepticisms, and Mother has also shared many, many occasions that doubt and skepticisms of the mind are greatest enemies on this path, because they would not let us go forward. They'll keep us pulling back again and again. Doubt, what if Mother is not thinking the best? The moment you have an affirmation in your head, okay, Mother knows the best and Mother will guide me the way, immediately a doubt creeps from below, and it says, what if Mother does not know the best? What if something Mother is not able to see and I am able to see better? There we fall again on our nose. So that's where the devotion has to grow fuller, that all my life has to totally turn to the divine, towards the divine, living for and in the divine, so that even if something happens, divine will take care, I will be guided. Yeah, then slowly doubts will disappear, they will not come into picture. I feel doubt comes into picture because we are half of the life, we also, not half, maybe more, we live for our own little self and little pleasures, little likings, little comforts. We don't have trust completely in the divine that all I need will be given to me. Yeah, and if I don't need something, that will not be given to me. So this has to be also considered, that many a times we think that what if divine does not give me that relationship? Maybe the divine thinks it's not needed for you. But we are so attached in our relationships and things that we want that also plus the divine. So that's where we fall again, and then we have to collect ourselves again and go on. Yeah. Yes. So here, all these innumerable elements, all these modes of being have become habitual to them. So all these neither elements, lower elements, which need more light and dark, light and illumination, they all also are impersonal. They all are also devoted. They all are also not living for an egoistic self, and they are all kind and gentle. So all the members have turned towards these qualities, they have become habitual to them, and then they are ready to participate in the contemplation. Now the mind will not be saying, okay, get up, time for meditation is up. Now the physical will not be saying, no, I'm hurting myself, the back is hurting, enough of meditation, get up. So all of them now slowly become ready for deep contemplation and to identify themselves completely with thee in supreme concentration. Yeah, that is why it seems now this appears to be a beautiful humongous task that we have in front of us, that the physical is also not complaining, the vital is also not complaining. That is why it seems to me that the work must be long and slow. 2 steps ahead, maybe 5 steps back. Perseverance is the key, mother says. Even for the best, even for the best. So, as Swapna was sharing, actually a sigh of relief that we are all on the same road, we are all in it together. Long and slow, even for the best, and that striking convergence. I think Jishnuji shared beautifully on this, that one day I may be feeling beautiful, some immediate realization has happened, and I would say, wow, more than half of the work seems to be done. But then uh, after 2 days I am again back into the same darkness owing to something that happened. So these striking realizations, not to just jump up too high up in the air owing to these striking conversions. Yeah, immediately some realization happened, or you feel a reversal in your consciousness, don't be too glad up in the air about it, because you don't know what is coming next. So yeah, be with it, enjoy it, but they cannot be integral. It takes a long and slow process for the change to be integral, for the change to become a part of my being, and not just one little beautiful dot of violet light, in 5 days a week. Yeah. So they change the orientation of the being, absolutely. They put it definitely on the straight path, as Jishnuji was sharing, on the path of self-realization, self-discovery towards the psychic. But truly, to attain the goal, none can escape. None. Notice this thing, none. Not even those people who we call as masters, avatars, gurus. None can escape. All have to do sadhana. None can escape the need of innumerable experiences of every kind and every instant. Now, in story of Savitri and Satyavan, especially with Sri Aurobindo, we see that how Savitri, who is coming from the divine realms, who is aware of her divine origins, who is full of beauty and grace and divinity, she also has to go through grief, loss, pain, and all that one faces in human life. She is also not rid of all these experiences. So all these experiences have to we have to pass through those experiences, so that we realize why that experience was there in the very first place. What was it telling me? What is still requiring change? Yeah. What is still there which is lying in darkness? Innumerable experiences of every kind, every instant. O Supreme Master, who shinest in my being. Now, I think, as Chitraji beautifully shared, and we have already again and again in every prayer and meditation, Mother shares, completes with this sentence, which is so comforting in nature, that there is no point of me delving into connecting dots in the outer life. Just delve into your deep, deep, deep self and find solace there. So Mother shared, who shines in my being, who sees through my eyes, who moves through my limbic movements, who speaks through my words. O Supreme Master, who shinest in my being. The Master is shining every moment, but we are not aware. We think, we just take it our entitlement, this life, but we don't even know what magic is happening each moment. There is a light of consciousness shining through each of our movements, and we forget to notice it. And that's why Kabir says, dhundat dhundat jag mua tilke ote ram. It's so obvious and ordinary that we fail to not notice it. O Supreme Master, who shinest in my being, and each thing, let thy light be manifest, and thy reign of thy peace come for all. As Jishnuji was sharing, maybe from Buddhist influence, but this is so beautiful that we can be rid of our little difficulties, and maybe pray for the whole of humanity. Whenever we are troubled with our own troubles, immediately transform it. May the Mother guide me and all towards the light. So immediately, the moment I am worried through my own little trouble, little anxiety, transform it into a prayer and aspiration for the whole of mankind. And one would see the difference it makes on the physical and emotional being that we are. Immediately a light comes, all the darkness and burden goes away. So this is also our possibility, that the moment a trouble comes and anxiety comes, I use it as a means to aspire, to pray, and also to turn that aspiration not only towards my own self, but also towards the whole of humanity. May peace, thy reign of peace, come for all and not only for me. Yeah. Yeah. If there is anything, please share.
Thank you, Monica, for this that line. No, second one. I mean, second line. Yeah, you
Yeah,
explained
this
very clearly. Yeah, yeah, and it's really I didn't understand that. Now it is very clear. Yeah, thank
beautiful.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's an inspired explanation today, Monica.
Thank you, Jyotsna ji.
I'm glad I shut my gob and said you.
I am not very glad about it. I'm still having the thought about it. Yeah.
It was
Anyways,
very inspired. You went like an engine, and it's fantastic the way you
yeah.
spoke today.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yes, Jishnu ji, please share. Yeah.
Yeah, two things. One is, as you said some in course of your explanation, that we know, I mean, this is the knowledge, and after that we have to do. So I remember I had read a poetry, I don't remember where. So there they said, it's like, once you know the address, that is not enough. You have to go and find out the address, where the
Beautiful.
residence is.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
it exactly reminded me when you said, when you spoke those words. And another is about Jyotipriya, Judith. I wanted to share, it's a very beautiful thing, one small, because went, she's founded the Los Angeles Center of Sri Aurobindo Center, Los Angeles. But most importantly, she had the habit of connecting with people. She used to write letters. And so somebody criticized, and I'm sharing this because at times this question comes. So somebody criticized her that, "Oh, you are a yogi, why you have to connect with people, why you have to write letters?" This is in 1955, I'm saying. And she had referred this question to mother, that am I doing the right thing? And mother had written to her a very beautiful letter in December 1955. She wrote to her, "For you who have realized your soul and seek the integral yoga, to help others is the best way of helping yourself."
Beautiful.
And then she didn't stop here. "Indeed, if you are sincere, you will soon discover that each of their difficulties, each of their failures is a sure sign of a corresponding deficiency in yourself,
Yeah.
the proof that something in you is not perfect enough to be all powerful."
Beautiful. Yeah.
So,
Beautiful. Yes. I'm so glad that you brought forward these lines. I remember them
yeah.
reading. Beautiful. Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
No, that is what, because when you said that once a person becomes perfect, he is working for the divine, and you said about Jyotipriya, so it reminded me of these
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah. And actually,
She was,
these lines were resonating in my mind, that mother said this, that each difficulty
yeah,
in the outer situation will be a mirror of your difficulty that you have to work upon. Beautiful. I think.
right.
Yeah. Thank you so
What
much.
is her full name?
Her name was Judith Tyberg. Judith Tyberg, Josnaji. Actually, May is her birth month, 16th May. And I will share with you and Monica, this month we are taking out a newsletter on her life. So I will share once it is published.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. I have written the name in the window, Jyotsna ji, in case you want to Google her, there is a lot of
Yeah.
information available.
So
Her
Judith Tyberg,
agency
yeah.
must be there, no, on the net.
Yes, everything is.
Yes, it's there. So Judith Tyberg, and then Sherwindo gave her the name Jyotipriya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful. Very inspirational, her life story and the work
Yes.
she did. It's beautiful. Feel I was going through a really challenging time when I got to know first about Judith Tyberg, and maybe I heard in one of the talks by Dr. Alok Pandey, and it just filled me up with so much of admiration and gave me so much of courage to go ahead. It was just amazing. Yeah, beautiful.
Available just like that on the net, or is it some particular site that has a biography?
Josnaji, I will share with you. It
Vishnuji,
is
you can
available.
share on the group.
Yeah,
Yeah, you will share on
I
the
will
WhatsApp
share with you.
message.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So anyone, anything else that is maybe ringing in the head or you want to share? Shreya, Swapna, if there is anything. Okay. So I'm assuming, okay, Shreya, Swapna, please go ahead. Whoever was that, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say thanks for bringing up just that daily element of, the people we live with, and or the people in our lives, in our daily lives, and the receiving sometimes of, criticism, and how that is that reminder, right, of whatever element, rather than just taking it as a sting, or that it fuels, the
Yeah,
aspiration, it fuels the yoga further.
absolutely.
It's a very good reminder, yes, of how those those are also outer activities, right? The interactions with others, because I guess in a way I'd compartmentalize this to just simply work, but just those daily activities of dealing with other people and relationships and feelings, and also this kindness and the gentleness that Mother speaks about. I think it's a choice when you mention those, as in their byproducts, absolutely, and sometimes it's a choice in how they can inform my actions or my attitudes or find solutions. um, I find that really
Yeah.
valuable. So what is the kind decision?
I feel, Swapna, when we turn each and every element of our being towards the divine and no one else in particular, kindness and gentleness, you cannot help but be kind and gentle, because you don't want anything through your selfishness from that person now anymore. All your wants, all your needs are met in the divine, and that's where kindness and gentleness would be now a way of nature, because you can't help it, because you don't need anything from the other person. We usually kind of depend on other people for emotional needs, for mental clarifications, and we use other people mostly, not always, mostly as a crutch, like a handicap, right? But when now all the needs are met in the divine, you cannot help but be kind, because there is nothing in particular that you want from that other person, that he may expect, fulfill your expectation or demand. You don't have much expectations and demands from that other person, apart from the fact that he may find light too, maybe. And that brings kindness and gentleness into more into perspective. Yeah. Yeah, so Shreya, anything from you?
No, nothing else from Monica.
Okay, great. All right then. So next time I will ask Jyotsna and Shreya to share first. Jyotsna ji and Shreya to. Yeah, thank you for joining, everyone.
Next time it will be a 4 o'clock class, and I won't be able to join.
No, no, four. We have gone away with four. It'll always be happening at 7. You
Okay.
have no chance to escape, Shreya. Yeah,
Monica, there are some lines from Savitri, few lines
please,
actually.
please. Yeah, please.
Yeah, page number 470 it is.
Yeah,
It is after Savitri knows, I mean, she already knows Satyavan is going to die, but she entered into that marriage life. Now, Sri Aurobindo very, I mean, clearly Sri Aurobindo brought out how she served all, even though she had that foreknowledge. Yeah, worshipped empress, all ones we to serve. She made herself the diligent self of all. nor spared the labor of broom and jar and well, or close gentle tending, or to heap the fire of altar and kitchen, no slight task allowed to others that her woman's strength might do. In all her acts, a strange divinity shone. Into a simplest movement, she could bring a oneness with earth's glowing robe of light, a lifting up of common acts by love. Yeah, this is before she realized her soul actually. Once she realized her soul and also entering into that nirvana experience, no, that time also her she used to do all the mundane works. That lines also Sherbindo brought out in page number 551. I remembered these lines because Lokda in one of the talks mentioned about it very particularly actually. 551, yeah, I will read those lines. Uh, in the little hermitage, in the forest heart, in the sunlight and the moonlight and the dark, the daily human life went plodding on. Actually, this is after she gained all the experience. Even as before, with its small unchanging works and its spare outward body of routine and happy quiet of ascetic peace. Then few lines down, none saw aught new in her, none divined her state. They saw a person where was only God's vast, a still being or a mighty nothingness. To all she was the same perfect Savitri, a greatness and a sweetness and a light poured out from her upon her little world. Her acts followed the old unaltered round. Yeah, these lines. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.